This week, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu led with empathy, decisive action, and a renewed commitment to national progress. Join us as we take you through Mr. President's Week in Review. President Tinubu began the week on a reflective note, mourning the passing of Solomon Arase, the 18th Indigenous Inspector General of Police. At 69, Arase left behind a legacy of reform and innovation, pulsing from intelligence-driven operations to safer highways and peacekeeping service abroad. The president described him as a patriot with expertise and dedication to security who will be deeply missed. At the State House on Monday, President Tinubu received Colombia's Vice President Francis Mayorkas. Their discussions centered on deepening ties in aviation, trade, diplomacy, and cultural exchange. Mr. President stressed the need for fresh global partnerships to secure prosperity, while Vice President Mayorkas highlighted shared histories and the promise of collaboration between Africa and Latin America. On Tuesday, President Tinubu celebrated Vice President Kashim Shettima on his 59th birthday, commending his courage, loyalty, and service to Nigeria's renewed hope agenda. He assured Nigerians that together they remain focused on delivering new jobs, stronger trade corridors, and better infrastructure for all. On the same day, President Tinubu ordered the reinstallment of Mr. Saliu Abdullahi as Director General of the Nigeria Television Authority and Mr. Ayo Adewuyi as Executive Director of News, restoring continuity in leadership at the national broadcast. Mr. President also congratulated Zamfara State Governor Dawuda Lawal on his 60th birthday, praising his commitment to peace and development. Still on Tuesday, President Tinubu met with leaders from Katsina State, led by Governor Diko Rada, following recent bandit attacks. He announced new security measures, deploying advanced military technology, reinforcing border control, and supporting the establishment of state police. He pledged to defeat insecurity, honor the legacy of former President Muhammadu Buhari, and protect the lives and livelihood of citizens. On Wednesday, President Tinubu announced that Nigeria has already achieved its 2025 revenue target, driven not by oil but by growth in the non-oil sector. He reaffirmed his administration's focus on food security, healthcare, infrastructure, and accountability. Meeting with the son of Obamashe Oba, Agada Oloye, President Tinubu emphasized the bold reform has stabilized economic and arbitrage and restored investors' confidence. He pledged further investment in education and infrastructure while acknowledging Obamashe's need in agriculture, water, and power. Mr. President also directed compulsory health insurance coverage across all ministries, departments, and agencies, ensuring expand protection for workers and greater accountability in healthcare financing. In the education sector, new appointment was confirmed. Engineer Abdulrazak Nakuri as Pro-Chancellor of Yusuf Maitama Sule Federal University of Education, Kano. Professor Abdullahi Kurdudaye as Vice-Chancellor and Professor Yaya Bukar as Vice-Chancellor of the Federal University Education, Zaria. Later, President Tinubu received governors of the Northeast, led by Governor Babagana Umara Zulu. They discussed critical road projects and food security with Mr. President, assuring full support for regional development. President Tinubu departed Abuja on Thursday for a 10-day work-in vacation in Europe. Before his departure, he congratulated Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetokun on his birthday, praising his leadership in strengthening law enforcement and safeguarding the nation. The week closed on a celebratory note as President Tinubu congratulated Vice President Kashim Shettima, Dr. Iyabo Masha, and other distinguished Nigerians on their investiture as Fellows of the Nigeria Economic Society. He held their commitment to economic policy and research as a source of inspiration for future generations, underscoring his administration's readiness to work with experts in driving inclusive prosperity. Thank you for joining us. See you next week.